Alright, Subpart B, Title 238. Subpart B, Safety Planning General Requirements. 238-101, Scope. The subpart contains safety plan with the general safety requirements of all the railroad passenger equipment subject to this part. Fire safety materials used in the construction passenger car with the cab of the locomotive order for the after September 8, 2000, placed in the service for the first time and after September 9, 2002 shall meet with the task of the performance criteria of the test performance of the criteria of the flammability of the smoke emission characterized and specified in Appendix B of this part of the alternative standards issued for the recognized within expert consensus organization after special approval of the FRA under Statute 238-21. On and after November 8, 1990, the materials included with the passenger car for the locomotive cab that is part of any kind of the rebuild, the refurbish, overhaul with the cab of the car shall meet with the test of performance criteria with the flammability, smoke emission characteristics specified in Appendix B of this part. Alternative standards issued with the character recognized within this expert consensus organization after special approval of the FRA under Statute 238-21 for the purpose of the complying with the requirements of this paragraph. The railroad must rely on the result of the test material of the conduct of the accordance with the standard of the performance criteria with the flammability, smoke emission characteristics specified in Appendix B of this part, effective June 12, 1999. See Title 49 CFR Part 203-399, revised October 1st, 1999, prior to January 25th, 2002. June 25th, 2002. Material is installed with the passenger car with the locomotive held in the inventory by the railroad, ordered by the railroad. Certification railroad shall be the required certification from the representative sample of the combustible materials used in the construction of the passenger car and locomotive cab, or introduced for the passenger for the car, locomotive cab, part of any kind of the rebuild, refurbishment, overhaul with the cab that has been tested with the recognized independent testing laboratory with the results slow with the representative of the sample to comply with the requirements of the paragraph A of this section of the time is tested. Fire safety analysis, procuring the new passenger car locomotive and procuring the new passenger car locomotives. Each railroad shall ensure fire safety consideration features of the design equipment to reduce the risk of the personal injury of the car fire to acceptable level of operating environmental use of the formidable name and safety methodology military standard 882. And the end of each of the railroads shall comply with the written fire safety analysis of the passenger equipment that is procured with the conducting analysis of the railroad shall identify analysis, prioritize the fire hazards, and adhere with the design of the equipment, take an effective step with the design of the equipment, selected the material that provides sufficient with the fire resistant, responsibly ensure the adequate time of the attack of the fire safety, evac. Passenger crews, if the fire cannot be prevented, the factors considered include potential ignition source for the type of the quantity and for the location for the materials availability, the rapid safety, aggressive exterior of the equipment, the condition of the rescue, and secure the fire smoke and other hazards reasonable to ensure the ventilation of the system. The equipment that does not contribute with the lethality of the fire, identifying the written with the terrain component with the risking initiation fire of the which requires overheating protection over the aid or detector shall be installed with if any with the component when the analysis determines if the overheat detector is necessary. Identify the running unoccupied with the train component with the contained with the equipment material with the positive if the fire has the name with the benefit of the provided with including the fire smoke with the protection system for the compartment so with the identified fire smoke detector shall be installed in an occupied compartment with the analysis determination such for the equipment necessary to ensure the sufficient time with the safe evacuation of the passenger crew member of the train for the purpose of the section unoccupied train keeping it compartment means with any part of the equipment structure that is not normally occupied but during the operation of the train including closet baggage compartment the food pantry etc. 6. Determining whether any occupied or unoccupied space required for the portable fire extinguisher if the proper the type of the side of the fire extinguisher is such a location required with Statute 239-101 chapter each of the passenger cars is required to have the minimum of one portable fire extinguisher if the analysis performed indicates that one of the more additional portable fire extinguishers are needed each shall be installed. 7. On case-to-case basis, analysis of the benefit provided with including the fixed automatic fire suppression system occupied with the train compartment that contains the equipment material that poses the fire has determined the proper type of the size of the automatic fire suppression for each of the such location. Fixed automatic fire suppression system should be installed with the unoccupied compartment with the analysis determines if the such equipment is practicable and necessary to ensure the sufficient timing of the safe evacuation of the passengers, crew members from the train. Explain how the safety and the result of the design of the equipment, the selection of the materials to reduce the risk of each fire hazard, and describe the analysis of the testing necessary to demonstrate for the fire of the protection, each for the approach for the time of the design of the equipment selection with the materials meet the fire protection requirements for this part. Fire safety analysis existing passenger cars and locomotives no later than January 10th, 2011. Each for the 2001. Each for the passenger railroads shall complete with the preliminary fire safety analysis. Each for the category existing passenger cars and locomotives shall have the rail so no rather than July 10th, 2001. Each such railroad shall have the complete final fire safety analysis for the category existing passenger car locomotive of the railroad so evaluated during the preliminary fire safety safety analysis, like the presenting of the unacceptable risk with a personal injury and conducting analysis. The railroad should consider the extent with which the materials comply with the test performance criteria with the flammability, smoke emission characteristics specified in Parents B with the part of the alternative standard and approved and by the FRA under this part. Take the remedial action to reduce the risk of the personal injury to the accessible level of such category. The railroad finds the risk unacceptable to consider the remedial action of the railroad is not required to rescue, replace material that not applied to replace material that does not comply with the test performance criteria with the criteria of smoke and emission characteristics required by this part. If the risk of the personal injury of the materials is negligible based on the railroad's operating operating environment, the material size, location of both the railroad task and alternative action reduce the risk of the personal injury to the acceptable level no later than July 10, 2003. Should such a railroad shall complete the final fire with the safety analysis of all the categories existing passenger car locomotive of the rail. Subject to completing with the analysis, the railroad shall have the practical determining extent of the remaining materials comply with the test of the performance criteria of the flammability, smoke emission characteristics specified in Appendix B of the part alternative standard for the FRA under this part. Task remedial action reduce the risk of personal injury to acceptable level within such a category. The railroad find with the risk of the unacceptable to consider remedial action from the railroad is not recorded to replace the material found and not comply with the test performance criteria with the flammability, smoke emissions, and characteristics required by this part. If the risk of the personal injury for the material, the negligible based on the railroad's operating environment of the material side of the location of the both the railroad task, the alternative to action with reduce the task of the risk of the personal injury with acceptable level, where the personal possibility prior to the transfer of the existing passenger of the car of the locomotive to a new category rail service has been not cost more than 90 days for the following the transfer of the passenger railroad shall complete with the new fire safety analysis taken into consideration. Change the railroad operation shall affect the prompt action to reduce and identify the risk with an acceptable level. As used in paragraph A of the category of the existing passenger for the locomotive, the rail service shall be determined the railroad based upon the relevant fire safety risk, including available ignition store of the presence of the absence, then the heat and smoke detection system, now variation from the required material test of the performance criteria, alternative standards approved, the FRA availability of the rapid safety, aggressive exterior of the under the condition of secure of the fire, the smoke of the other hazards, inspection, testing, and maintenance. Each railroad shall develop and adopt the written procedure for the inspection, testing, and maintenance of all fire safety systems and fire safety equipment on the passenger equipment if it operates. The railroad shall comply with the procedure if it is designated the mandatory for the safety of the equipment of each occupants. 238.105 Train electronic hardware safe software safety. The requirement of this section apply to the electronic hardware safety of the use the control of the monitoring safety function passenger equipment other ordered on or after September 8, 2008 with the components for the implementation of the material notified of the new existing passenger equipment on and or after the September 9, 2002. A railroad shall develop maintain written hardware software safety programs to guide the development, testing, and integration of verification software hardware that control of the monitor's equipment, the safety of the function of the hardware software safety program shall be based on the formal safety program that includes the failures mode, FX, of the criticality analysis, or FEMCA. Verification, validation testing of all the hardware, the software, the components of the interior surface, the competence of the hardware, software, and integration testing to ensure that the hardware and software system functions as intended. Hardware software safety program shall include the description of how the following the accomplished, achieved, and carried out within implemented to ensure the safety and reliability. Hardware and software design process for the hardware software design documentation, hardware software analysis, hardware software safety reviews, hardware software hazard monitoring, tracking hazard software integration, safety testing, and demonstration of overall hardware software system safety that is part of the pre-revenue service of the testing of the equipment and hardware software that control of the monitoring with the train's primary of the braking system, either fall safety of the initiating the fall of the emergency brake application event with the hardware safety of the comply could impair the ability of the engineer to apply the relief the brakes or provide the engineer access with the active manual with the control of the primary braking system with service of the emergency braking system hardware software with the control of the monitor's ability to shut down the train's primary power with the fuel intake with the system shall either fail safely by the shutting down of the main power, cutting off the intake of the fuel event with the hardware with the software failure that could be impaired with the ability of the train crew command with the electronic function, the ability to shut down the main power with the fuel intake with the non-electronic means shall be provided to the train crew. The railroad shall comply with the elements for the hardware software safety program that affect the safety of the passenger equipment. Alright, 238-107 inspection testing maintenance plan. The general, beginning of January 1st, 2002, for the following provision with the section applied with the railroads operating with the Terry 1 passenger equipment, the cover with part of the railroad may request each of the early application of the requirements upon written notification of the Federal Railroad Association Administrator as self-safety for the safety of the statute 238-1C for the each of the railroad shall develop and provide the FRA upon with request detailed inspection testing and maintenance of the plan consisting of the requirements for this part of the plan shall include the detailed description of the following: the inspection procedure interval, the criteria for the test, the procedure intervals, scheduled preventive maintenance and interval, the maintenance procedure for the special testing of the equipment, the measuring of the devices required to perform the inspection testing. The inspection testing maintenance if the plan is required for the section not intended to address should not be included the procedure to address the employee, the working condition, the right for the course of the conducting inspection testing maintenance set forth in the plan with the requesting the copy of the railroad plan of the FRA does not intend to review any portion of the plan that relates to the employee working condition. The inspection testing and maintenance of the plan required for the section shall be reviewed by the railroad annually. 238-109 Training Qualification Designation Program. Beginning from January 1st, 2002, but the railroad shall adopt the Training Qualification Designation Program for the employee for the contractor to perform any inspection testing maintenance required for this part shall be trained with such employee with the contractor in accordance with the program. The railroad may request the earlier application for the requirements of the written notification of the FRA Associated Administrative Safety provided in statute 238-1C for the purpose over the section of the contractor is defined as the person under the contract with the railroad and employee of the person under the contract with the railroad to perform any of the tasks required for this part. One, as part of the program, the railroad shall at a minimum identify the tasks related to the inspection testing maintenance required for this part must be performed at each for the type of equipment that the railroad operates to develop the written procedure for performing the task when defined B1 of the section, identify the skills and knowledge necessary to perform each of the tasks identified in B1 of the section, adopt the training curriculum that includes classroom hands-on testing of the lesson designed for the improve with the skills and knowledge identified with the necessary to perform each task, and identify with the paragraph B1 of the section. The training curriculum shall specifically address the federal regularity requirements contained in this part with the related performance of the task identified. Requiring all of the employees of the contract to successfully complete the training course for the outcome for the equipment of the task in which they are responsible to require for the part of the specific federal regulation requirements contained within this part of the required related to the equipment and task for which they are responsible. Require all the employees of the contractor to pass either written or any oral examination covering the equipment of the task for which they are responsible required by this part, as well as the specific regulation requirements contained within this part of the related to the equipment task for which they are responsible for. Require all the employees and contractors to individually demonstrate their hands-on capability successful to perform the task required by this part of the must be performed as part of their duties on the type of equipment of which they are assigned. 8. Require the supervisor to complete with the program that covers the employee with the supervisor, including the refresher of training. The required supervisor to exercise the oversight with the ensure the identified task for the performing in accordance with the railroad written procedure design. The rating of each of the employee of the contractor have the knowledge and skill necessary to perform the safety-related task as part of his or her job. Require the periodic refreshing training and interval would not exceed the years, including the classroom hands-on training as well as testing except the employee of the contractor have completed the initial training under the prior part of the June 1st, 2002 shall not be required to complete the first periodic refresher training 4 years after completion of the initial training every 3 years after the new equipment of the qualification designation program prior to the introduction of revenue services. Maintain records adequate demonstration of each of the employee contractor performance safe related to the task of the passenger equipment that currently qualified to do this. This record should adequately distinguish the qualification employee with the contractor qualified person as the qualified maintenance person. 238-111 pre-revenue service acceptance testing and acceptance testing plan. Passenger equipment that has previously been used with the revenue service of the United States. The passenger equipment that has been previously been used with the revenue service of the United States. Even the railroad shall test the equipment with the system prior to the place for the equipment of the revenue service for the first time. The railroad to ensure the compatibility of the equipment with the railroad's operating system, including the track of the signal system, the description and such testing, but retained by the railroad may be available to the FRA of the inspection copying with upon request for the purpose of the paragraph. Passenger equipment that has previously been used with the revenue service of the United States means the actual equipment that used within such of the equipment manufactured identically with the actual equipment manufactured similarly to the actual equipment with no material difference in safety critical components of the systems. Passenger equipment that has not been used with the revenue service of the United States before used with the passenger equipment the first time on the system that has been used with the revenue service of the United States. Each of the railroad shall prepare a pre-revenue service with the acceptance of the testing plan, but the equipment that can contain with the electrical elements of identified all the way with the FRA with the federal safety regulation required for the testing for the revenue service of operation equipment. The clear statement of the test, the objective of the principal test, the objective of the demonstrator, the equipment meaning for the safety requirement to specify the parts for the operating with the environment which was to be tested, plan and scheduled for the conducting hands-on testing. Description of the railroad property facility to be used in conducting testing, detailed description of how the testing is conducted, including the description criteria to be used and evaluated, the equipment, equipment's performance, the description of how the test the result of it is to be required. 7, the description of the special instructions to be used during the test, the description of the information for the data to be obtained, the description of how the information data obtained and analyzed, description of any criteria to be used within safety limits during the test, the description of the criteria to be used as a measure to determine the successful failure of the test, and acceptance for it to be used based on the exploration left in the full level of testing result of the analyst to be done with the justified validation and exploration. Shall be described the quality of the control procedure to ensure the inspection testing made if the procedure is followed with the criteria to be used with the revenue services operation equipment and the description of any test of the equipment that has been previously been performed. 2. The submission of a copy of the platform of at least 30 days testing the equipment that includes the submission of the notification of the times placed from the pre-revenue services test to permit the FRA observation with the test of the FRA Tier 2 passenger equipment. The railroad shall obtain the FRA approval of the plan under the procedure special filed in Statute 238-21. Complying with the plan, including the full execution of the test required with the plan, the documentary writing the resting of the test, the result of the test for the Tier 2 of the passenger equipment. The railroad shall report the result of the testing of the FRA Associated Administrative Safety at least 90 days prior to the intent of the operation of the equipment. The revenue server the corrective of any safety device if identified with the design of the equipment, with the inspection, testing, and maintenance of the procedure uncovered to discover during the testing of the safety deficiency cannot be corrected with the design change that the railroad shall impose the operational limitation on the revenue server. The operation of the equipment is designed to ensure that the equipment that can operate safely the Tier 2 passenger equipment. The railroad shall comply with the operational limitations imposed by the FRA Associated Administrative Safety. The revenue server the operation of the equipment can cover the state with the following. A FRA review of the result of the testing program in the section does not restrict the railroad to petition for the FRA for the review of the safety regulation over the procedure specified in Part 2.1 of 211. Make the plan documentation pursuant to the plan available to the a copy of the plan of the FRA request. FRA upon request, the Tier 2 passenger equipment with approval of the FRA associated with the administrative safety power of the placing of the equipment, the revenue strip with the associated administrative grants approval upon the showing of the railroad's compliance with the applicable requirements of the railroad department for the upgrade and introduction of new technology. Tier 2 passenger equipment that has been used for the revenue strip of the United States, the effect of the safety system and such equipment the railroad shall follow the procedure specified on B of the section prior to the placing of the equipment of the revenue strip of such major upgrade and introduction of new technology. 238, 111, 238, 11, 12, 238, 112, door emergency egress rescue access system. Steps are provided in 238, 439 with each of the powered exterior side of the door with the vestibule, the position of the passenger equipment of the passenger service can have the manually override device that is capable of releasing the door to perform made at the opening without the power of the inside car. Located adjacent with the door with the controls designated maintains that the person is readily accessible to operate, override the device with the inside of the car without requiring the use of the tool or other implement that the doors the leaves only with the door leaves if the required is respond to the manually override device. Each Tier 1 passenger car ordered on or after September 8, 2000 to play for the service the first time on September 9, 2002. All Tier 2 of the passenger car shall have the minimum of the 2 exterior side doors, one in each side of the car, each of the door. Such doors shall be provided with a minimum clear of the opening of the dimension 30 inches horizontally, 74 inches vertically, instead of the dual leaf doors, and consider with a single door for the purpose of the paragraph that each of the powered exterior side door with each of the passengers shall consider. The car shall have the manual override device that is capable of releasing the door to permit the opening without the power from the both sides and outside of the car, located adjacent to the door with the controls designated maintained so that the person may access the override device to the both inside and outside of the car without requiring the use of the tool or other implementation. No other paragraph of the Americans with Disability Act with accessibility specifications transportation vehicles also contain the requirement of the doorway clearance in Title 49 CFR Part 3 to 38. A manual override device may be used to open the power exterior door, may be protected with a cover screen with capable of the removal with requiring the use of the tool other implementation. Prior to January 28, 2015, the door exits in terms of the emergency egress shall either be lighted with a conspicuous legally marked with a luminescent material on the inside each of the car legible to understand that the instructions shall be provided that there is either such door. On and after January 28, 2015, the door exits intended with the emergency egress shall be marked with the instruction provided within their use of specified 238-125. E1, prior to January 28, 2015, the doors intended with the access for the emergency responders to medically access or exterior of the car with the retroflective material legibly understand the construction shall be exposed for the at or near each of the door on after January 28, 2015. The doors intended with the access of the emergency responders shall be marked with the instruction provided with their use of them specified in 238.125. Alright, vestibule door for the other interior of the doors intended with the passenger through the passenger car. The requirement of the paragraph F1 through F6 for the section applied with the passenger cars that were ordered on and after January 28, 2014 with the placement for the first time after January 29, 2018. Generally, except for the door with the provided access for the control compartment with the biparting of the door of the when subject to the requirements of paragraph F3 with the section vestibule door with any other interior door intended with the passenger through the passenger car, such as equipped with the removable panel, with the removal of the window, with the event with the door with the open the emergency of the car on the side of the door is difficult to open the door with the power of the if it shall have the manual override device that conforms with the requirements of paragraphs F4 and through F6 of the section removal of the panel with the window of each of the ease of the operability each of the removal of the panel removal of the window shall be designed to permanent rapid easy rapid removal of each side of the door during the emergency situation when the requirement of the use of the tools and other implementations. 2. The dimension removal of the panel of the window shall create an unobstructed opening with the door with the minimum dimension with the 21 inches horizontally by 20 inches vertically location. Each of the removal of the panel and the removal of the window should be located at least the lowest point of the opening created with the removal of the panel with the window with no higher than 18 inches above the floor. 3. Biparting windows. Each of the powered biparting vestibule doors, any other interior powered biparting door intended with the passenger through the passenger shall be equipped with a manual override device with mechanical mechanism to retain each of the door leaf over the open position, the ratchet and pull and sprag of each of the manual override device shall cover the requirements of paragraph F4, F5, F6 of this section. Manual override devices. Each of the manual override devices shall 1. Capable of releasing the door leaf with the door of the biparting the permanent open, but the power of the located adjacent with the door with the door leaf with the door is biparting with the controls designated maintained so that the person can readily accessible except for the operating with the operative device each of the side of the door without use of the tool or implement marking in 5 with marking instruction either the removable panel with the removal of the window with the vestibule door or other interior door intended with the passage through the passenger car shall be suspiciously legibly marked with the luminescent material on each side of the door specified in statute section 542 of the APTA PR SS00298 Revision 2 Standard for the Emergency Standard for the Egress Emergency Passenger Rail Equipment authorized on October 7, 2007 and L. Any alternative to the standard providing at least for the equivalent level of safety approved by the FRA pursuant to statute 238.21 of the legible understanding with the operating of the instruction that shall be posted to the each side of the door and each of the sides of the panel with the window with the incorporation of the reference for the APTA. The standard will approve the director of the Federal Register in accordance with Title 5 U.S. Standard Code 5552 and Title 1 CFR Part 51. You may obtain the copy of the incorporated documentation of the American Public Transportation Association 1666 K Street, North Washington, D.C. 200006. APTA standards to be made with insert of the copy of the documentation, Federal Road Administration, docket 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. of the National Archive Record Administration, permission available to the material of the NARA 202741603 Archive Federal Registration Code, Federal Regulations, IBR locations. Alright, 2. For the biparting door of the manual override device, use of the retention mechanism that shall be conspicuously legally marked with the emission of the material legibly understanding the operation and instruction of each of the manual override device. Each retention mechanical device should be posted near each of such a device's mechanism. Testing an interval not exceeding 184 days and not part of the periodic mechanical inspection of each of the road shall test the representative of the sample of the door, removal of the panels, then removal of the windows, manual override device for retention mechanism on its cars, and where applicable determining if the operator is intended with the sampling method must be the form of the formalized statistical test method. Alright, 238.113 emergency window exit. Number of the location except for the provided in paragraph A1 of the section of the following requirements of the paragraph A applied with the April 1st, 2008. Single level passenger cars. Each single level passenger car shall have the minimum of 4 emergency windows and at least 1 emergency window. They shall be located on each side of each of the half of the car in staggered configuration with a particular with the figure 1 of the subparts also be in figure 1B and 1C of the subpart. 2 multiple level passenger cars maintain main level each of the main level with multiple level passenger cars subject to the same the requirements specified in single level 1. passenger cars in paragraph A1 of the section. Multiple levels of passenger cars bound by levels for the seating area with other the main levels. Except as provided in paragraph A3, 2, and 3 of the section on the paragraph after August 1st, 2009, any level of the main level under use for the passenger seating multiple level passenger cars, so that the intermediate levels shall be the minimum. The two emergency window exits of the seating area with the emergency window exits shall be accessible to the passenger in the seating area without the requirement of movement through the interior door of another level of the car with at least one emergency window of the exit shall be located at each side of the setting area with the emergency window that exists may be located with the exterior side door of the passenger compartment. If it is not practical to place the window except with the side of the seating area with the C figure 2 and 2A of the subpart. Alright, only the emergency window with the exit of the window of the seating area with the passenger compartment. It is not practical to place the emergency window and then exit with the side of the passenger equipment due to the need to provide accessible accommodation under the American Disability Act of 1990. There is no more than 4 seats within the seating area that is suitable alternative to the arrangement of emergency egress is provided for the passenger cars or within April 1st, 2019, placed prior to the April 1st, 2011. Only emergency windows required for the seating are in passenger compartment. It is not practical to place the window exit with the side of the passenger compartment due to the presence of the structure of such a bathroom and electrical locker or kitchen. Taking no more than 8 seats for the seating area. Cars with a sleeping compartment, similar private compartment, each level of the passenger car with the sleeping compartment, the similar private compartment is intended with the occupied with the passenger train crew member that shall have at least one emergency window with such compartment. For the purpose of paragraph A4, but the bathroom and the below each and locomotive cab is not considered with the compartment. Easy operability. On and after November 8, 1999, each of them had a routine window with a child is designated with a permanent rapid easy removal of the inside with during the emergency situation without requiring the use of the tool or other implementation. C dimension except provided in paragraph C1 and C2 for the section each of the emergency window with exit passenger include the sleeping car order with the September 8, 2000 placed in service the first time on and after September 9, 2002 have been restricted to opening with a minimum difference of 26 inches of the horizontally 24 inches vertically and the setback with is not obstruction that can be moved away from the window opening with a using tool or other implementation. Emergency windows, doors, and exit of the side door of the emergency window of the exit should located with the exterior side door of the recording of the requirements of the paragraph A31 of the section may have the unobstructed opening with a minimum dimension of 24 inches and the horizontally and vertical 26 inches vertically. Our additional emergency window exit. The emergency window exit is additional within the minimum number of the required paragraph A. The section that has designated by the use of the railroad not comply with the minimum dimensions requirement of the paragraph C, but this must be either was comply with all the requirements of the paragraph part that apply with the emergency windows over the exits. Marking instructions prior to January 28, 2015, the emergency window exit should be conspicuously legibly marked with the luminous material inside of the leg, each of the car facilitating legibility understanding of the operation of the instruction, including the instruction to remove the window, shall be posted near each of the such window exit. On and after January 28, 2015, each of the emergency windows with exit shall be marked with an instruction provided with the SGG for the specified in 238-125. If the window removal is hindered by the presence of the setback, headrest, luggage rack, with other fixture, but the instruction site with the method allowing the rapid, easy removal of the window, taking into account the fixture, the portion of the infrastructure may be written with a pictorial format. The paragraph D3 with apply with the emergency window exit with subject to part D1 and 2 of the section. Periodic testing interval not exceeding 184 days as part of the periodic mechanical inspection of the railroad shall test the representative sample of the emergency window exit on the SCAR to determine whether the operator with the intent of the sample method must conform to the formalized statistical test method. Alright, 238.114, rescue access windows. Number of the locations except as provided in paragraph A12, but of the section of the following requirements of paragraph A of the flag with the April 1st, 2008. Single level of the passenger cars are provided in paragraph A1 is paragraph A11 and A12, and A112 and A5 of the section. Single level of the passenger shall have the minimum of the 2 rescue accessible windows. At least 1 rescue access window should be located with each of the car entirely with a 15 feet with the car center line, entirely 7.5 feet with the centering line, but the car does not exceed 45 feet in length. Figure 1 with the A with the subpart with the figure 1B with the 1C with the subpart. If the seating level is obstructed with the interior door with otherwise partitioned into a separate seating area, that each separate seating area shall have the minimum of 1 rescue area with a window with each of the window inside of the siding area located near the center of the as practicable. For the single level of the passenger car with the prior with the April 1st, 2009 with the place in the service the prior with the April 1st, 2011 with the rescue the window with the may be located rather than above the prescribed distance with the car center line with located with the exterior side doors or both, and at least one with the rescue the access window is located within each of the side of the each side or each half of the end half of the same passenger compartment. 2 for a single level the passenger car with the prior to September 2008 with the passenger with the September 9, 2002 with the requirements of the paragraph A1 with the requirements after the August 1st, 2009 with the car that has at least 2 exterior side door of the door leave that each with the manual override device thus the door leave that are located on each side of the car and opposite end with the half of the car diagonally opposite of the contour of the manual override device shall be capable of releasing the door leaf of the permanent to be open without power for the outside of the door located adjacent to the door of the door leaf or the control of the design maintained so that the person can access the override device outside of the car without using the tool other implementation. Multiple level passenger cars main level each main level of multiple level of passenger cars subject to main requirements specified in a single level of passenger car. The paragraph A1 of the section with the execution number A12, which is not applicable to multiple level passenger cars, level of seating areas other than the main levels, except as provided in paragraph A1, A32, and A33. The section on any level of the main level of the passenger seating the multiple level passenger cars, such as the intermediate level, shall have the minimum of 2 recent access windows each for the seating area. The rescue area access windows shall have the permanent emergency respondent to gain the access to the emergency seating area without requiring the movement of the interior door of another level of the car. At least one of the rescue areas window shall be located at each side of the seating area. The rescue access window may be located with the exterior side of the passenger compartment with a non-practical plate for the access of the window side of the seating area of the C figure 2 and 2A with a subpart. Only rescue with the access window is required with the seating area of the passenger compartment. If it is not practical to place the rescue access window on the side of the passenger compartment due to the need to provide accessible accommodation of the American Disability Act of 1990. Be there no more than 4 seats within the seating area. The suitable alternative arrangement of the rescue access is provided for the passenger for the car provided with April 1st, 2009. The place in service with April 1st, 2011. Only rescue access area windows are required in seating area of the passenger compartment. If it is not practical to place an access window on the side of the passenger compartment due to the provisions of the structure such as for the bathroom, electrical locker, or the kitchen, there are no more than 8 seats for the seating area. The cars with the sleeping area compartment of the similar private compartment, each of the passenger car with the sleeping compartment is similar provided with the compartment is named with the occupied with the passenger train with the crew with the shop with the minimum of 1 rescue access and window in each of the such compartment. For the purpose of the paragraph, the bathroom and kitchen and the locomotive of the cab does not consider the compartment the dual function window. If any of the locomotive level passengers emergency windows are installed to meet the minimum requirements of statute 238.113 are intended to function rescue access windows. The minimum requirements for the number of the location of the rescue access window paragraph A1 through A4 of the section are also met. Ease of operability on and after the April 1st, 2008 with the rescue success windows must be capable of being removed out with unreasonable delay with the emergency responders using either provided external mechanism tools and implementing that other commonly available to respond to the passenger train services. Dimensions: each rescue access window of the passenger car, including the sleeping car, in order after the April 1st, 2009 placed within service for the first time after April 1st, 2011, so be obstructed opening with a minimum distance of 26 inches horizontally, 24 inches vertically. The rescue access window located within the exterior side door in accordance with the requirements of the paragraph A31 of the section may have the unobstructed opening with a minimum dimension of the 24 inches without horizontal with the 26 vertically set back with the obstruction that can be moved away from the window opening without using the tool or implementation. Our marketing transaction prior to January 28, 2005, that each of the rescue access windows should be marked with the perpetual reflective of the material of the exterior of each of the car, unique easily with a recognizable symbol to sign the other conspicuous marking. They should be also marked to identify each of the such window legible to understand window access instructions involved include instruction removal of the window shall be posted at and near each of the window rescue access window. On and after January 2028, 2015, each of the rescue access windows should be marked with each instruction provided in its use and specified in 238.125. Just see how much farther we gotta read. We got a lot to read this. Emergency lighting. Prior to January 1st, 2017, the requirements specified in paragraphs A1 through 4 of the section apply to each of the passenger car order with the September 8, 2004 As of September 8, 2000, played for the service the first time after the September 9, 2002, emergency lights shall provide with each passenger car shall include the following: the minimum with average illumination for the level of the 1-foot candle mesh for the floor adjacent to each of the exterior door, and each interior door provided the access exterior door such as the door opening in the vestibule. Minimum average illumination level of the 1-foot candle with the 25 inches above the floor along the center line, center easel of the passageway. The minimum illumination level of the 10th of a foot candle mesh for the 25 inches above the floor at any point below the center easel of the passageway. The back of the power capable of operating all the equipment orientation within 45 degrees of the vertical operation. The initial shock of the collision derailment, the resulting plowing engine will apply without acceleration longitudinal 8 gigs, 4 lateral 4 Gs, vertical 4 Gs, operating all emergency light with the periodic listing of the 90 minute, so with the loss for more than 40% of the minimum illumination level specified in paragraphs A, B1, as further specified in paragraph B2 of the section on and after January 1st, 2017. Emergency lighting shall be provided with each of the passenger car in accordance with the minimum of the requirements specified in APDA APREE S03199 Revision 1 Standard Emergency Lighting System designed for the passenger cars authorized October 7, 2000. The alternate standard for the providing the least equivalent level safety improved by the FRA presumed with section 238.21, the incorporation reference to APTA with the approved with the Director of the Federal Register for the accordance with the Title 5 U.S. Code 552 A, and the CFR Part 51 must be obtained with a copy of the incorporated document for the American Public Transportation Association, 16666 K Street, North Washington, D.C. 200006. You may also inspect APTA standards.com, and you may also inspect the copy of the document of the Federal Road Administration docket 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. National Archive of the records of the administration of the information layout with the material and the 202741603 the Archive of the Federal Register Code of Regulations LIBR location HTML. Alright, no later than December 31st, 2015, at least 70% of each of the railroad passenger cars that were ordered prior to September 8, 2008, played within the prior to September 2009, September 9th, 2002, shall be compliant with the emergency lighting requirements provided in the paragraph B1 of the section. Alright, 238.117, protection against personal injury. On and after November 8, 1990, all the movements of our high-voltage equipment, electrical conductor switches, and pipe with carrying hot fluids and gases on all the passenger equipment should be appropriately equipped with interlocks and guards to minimize the risk of potential injury. This section does not apply with the interior part of the car. 238.119, rim stamp straight plate wheels. Except for the provided in paragraph of the 812 with the section on and after November 8, 1999, no railroad place with a continuous surface of the vehicle other than the private of the car then is equipped with the rim straight plate wheel with a brake shoe active the tread with the wheel with the purpose of allowing slowing the vehicle. Computer railroads may continue with the surface of the vehicle equipped with the Class A rim stamp with the straight plate with the well mounted on the inboarding bearing axle until the railroad exhausts the replacement of the shock of the wheel that has been held from May 12, 1998 for 9 provided with the railroad does not modify the operation of the vehicle in any way that would result in increased thermal input with the wheel during braking. A rim stack straight plate sheet will be used for the replacement of the wheel provided with the car with operating the passenger train with the brake shoe with the active with the tread on the wheel with the purpose of slowing the car. The requirements of the section does not apply with the wheel with the periodically tread with the shortened duration of the automatic circulatory of the sole purpose of cleaning the wheel tread surfaces. Alright, I'm going to cut the tape to emergency communication.